This is the Note Closer Show, where you get the latest developments in distressed note investing and learn the secrets of how you can control millions of dollars worth of property for pennies on the dollar. Get educated and entertained by someone who has closed thousands of deals and lives to support you in achieving the same. Now, here's your host, CEO of We Close Notes, Scott Carson.
All right, everybody. Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. And whenever you're watching this, welcome to the Note Closer Show podcast. We're excited to have you today. Lots of great stuff going on here in the WCN office. And if you're watching this live on Facebook, great. Thank you. We totally encourage you to ask questions while we run these Facebook Lives. But it's our Friday episode, basically. We're filming a little bit earlier because we do have a workshop that we're kicking off Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So we're decided to do the Funding Friday episode today, being almost end of the day on Thursday, because it has been a crazy day in the office. And you've got my amazing staff there, all headshots up there. They look like they're having a great day today, right, everybody?
Oh, yeah.
So one of the great things that we do, you can see Jennifer's on the top left-hand corner here. Nicole's on there below her, and then Greg is below me if you're watching this on Facebook Live. So you see to the yes, they can see you there. That's how we're filming it. There were the four squares. So one of the great things too is you see the stack of papers behind Jennifer's head to her shoulder there. How many files is that, Jen?
Those are what's left of the 70s. I have probably about 45
files there. So give you guys an idea. Today's topic, or this episode topic, if you're listening on iTunes and everything else, yes, she's carrying a big stack of paperwork. One of the things that we did we kind of started a little bit on Friday afternoon, and Jen, you wrapped up on Saturday. What did you do Saturday afternoon?
Mailed out, 70, 75?
71, I think, is the actual number.
71, yeah. Letters to the borrowers in the homes.
On stuff we just had recently closed in roughly the last 60 days.
Yep, that we purchased. So
we closed on 6 in the end of May. We closed on 40-something in July. No, June, end of June, first part of July. We closed on another 23 right before, like July 20th is, I think, when we wrapped up for that third trade. So roughly 70 assets there. We did a great job. Actually, you guys did a great job of identifying these assets, especially in the first big chunk of the 50. I was actually, I think, out of the office when that tape came in that you guys looked at stuff. And so if you guys have listened to a previous episode that we did on Funding Friday, one of the first 3 or 4 episodes, we talked about kind of the breakdown process of we looked into this list of contract for deeds that were sent over by a seller, and we broke it down by a couple things. Greg, what's the first thing we looked at on that spreadsheet again for those that want a recap of it?
Yeah, to see when the last payment was made.
And as far as when? In the last 5 years, 3 years?
Within this year, we tried to. I mean, really 6 months, but we also didn't. If it was within a year, we went ahead and kept it in the running.
Right. So if we looked at it, that narrowed the list down of 400 down to 100. And then you and Nicole looked at a lot of properties online, right, Nicole?
we really did.
Yeah. It was ugly. We got rid of it. If it looked pretty decent, we kind of kept it in the running. And then we submitted offers, right, Jen?
Yes.
And then we ended up getting how many approved back originally out of that first 100?
Oh, geez.
About 60, if I remember correctly, right?
Well, not approved right off the bat. We got counters.
Right. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Approved and countered. Yeah.
Yeah. No, we came. 40 got killed off immediately. So we got back on 60 that we reviewed more and dug into and then countered back.
And then we finaled up, settling in the 40 range of that first round. The second round we ended up finalizing at the 23 that we just closed on a couple weeks ago.
Right.
So the great thing about that, though, Greg, you guys ran in numbers on it. We pulled by the first dates. And then what did we do also? We figured what kind of returns do we look at? What kind of scenarios do we run as far as the assets, considering that they're owner-occupied?
Yeah, so we wanted 25% ROI with the current payments that they had listed there.
Right. And so you just basically added a spreadsheet column in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just
And
picked
just multiplied their payment times 12 and divided it by what we were going to purchase the purchase price.
right. And so that gave us a rough idea that, hey, if we get these people to reinstate, then we can hopefully see at least around a 25% yield on the money. Now, you guys also did a really great job of sleuthing, internet sleuthing, as Nicole likes to call it, right, Nicole?
Oh, borrower research.
Borrower research, exactly. Facebook, and then you guys also called the counties and talked to the power, water. You guys also had fun herding cats. Talking to realtors.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So we finalized on the stuff that we thought was occupied. We finalized what thought would be good ROIs. And so then we closed on them. And then it's been a little bit of a process, right, Jen, as far as the last couple of weeks of what have we been waiting on?
Collateral files and deeds. So.
Yes, waiting on the actual files that you see behind Jen, and then that's in your lap, right?
Well, they're off to the side. They're in my safe zone.
They're in your safe zone. So if you needed to build a paper fort, you could do that right now, huh?
Yes, I can. I think I may.
Yeah, as Nicole is looking over there at Jen right now, I think I saw photos where we couldn't see Jen from Ford Day, huh?
I'll have to insert the picture that you can only see our top bun.
Your top bun. There you
Yeah.
go. Yeah, good stuff. So one of the great things now, though, is since now we finally got everything, we got the borrowers, we looked at the collateral, the soft collateral before we closed. We got the collateral in, and so then we put in simple kind of reinstatement letters, kind of our own hello letters out to the borrowers. And we've been waiting on it basically to get everything in so we could feasibly look at their collateral files, really track down the borrower's more specific information, because the collateral files that we got electronically did not include everything that's in the collateral file, right? What are some of the things that you guys have seen in the collateral files that wasn't included in the soft copies?
One, we have the whole history of the loan as far as who's originating all the way back from the different transitions. What was not in our soft collateral file is the reach out as far as their name. Basically, a lot of these people still have the same contact information as far as whenever they originated their loan. So I have their name, their emergency contact, their phone number, their address, their spouse's name.
Relatives as well, too.
Mm-hmm.
Property inspection reports and some of these as well, too.
I have some of them. I had their place of employment. Some of them were self-employed. So that was easy to kind of pick up on some information on there and verify that what they were telling me when I'm talking to them now.
Yeah.
So. And
so we, looked at that stuff. We finally said, okay, let's pull the trigger. We sent out letters.
Yes.
Simple one-page letter. Hey, we have bought your loan. You're in the last 30, 60 days. Oh, there's another borrower calling.
Actually, I need to put on Do Not Disturb, because it's been ringing off the hook today.
So exactly, and so we sent letters out Saturday. Jen had her slave labor children stuff in a good way.
Yes, she was excited.
She was excited. We printed out the letters and paid for the stamps, and they knocked it all out. 70 letters is not that hard to do anyway.
No.
You had phone calls already. They'll come Monday from people that were already calling off of the goodbye letters from Harbor and NAA, correct?
No, because NAA has not sent out goodbye letters. They were calling because they were trying to make their payment to NAA, and NAA rejected their payment and sent them to me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That is different then. So they have not sent out the goodbye letters yet? Wow, that's...
out of the, 20, 25 people we've talked to today, not a single person has received a letter from NAA saying that they no longer service their loan.
Wow.
Yeah, and these are I'm talking about the ones we purchased in May and June.
Wow. Okay. So just tells you sometimes companies just don't have their act together, but where we could step in and make some great returns and stuff. So let's talk about some of those opportunities. So you today, when you left my office this morning after the podcast show from Thursday, prior to us recording this one, how many voice messages did you have in the system for you?
So in the hour that I was in your office, I came back and I had 18 voicemails and about 23 missed phone calls.
So not too bad. 23 missed phone calls, 18 voice messages. Now, you've been a very busy person today talking to all these borrowers, right?
Yes. By the end of today, I've talked to probably about 30 borrowers, and we've probably had about 60 phone calls because some of them just don't understand voicemail systems. So,
but that's good. So getting a 50% response rate roughly is what we're seeing. And you're contacting now. How many of those? I mean, you're still making phone tag back and forth because you're leaving messages and they're calling you back and vice versa. But out of those so far, how many of those have shown interest in reinstating and want to stay in their house?
Every single one of them that I've talked to, and actually we just added another one from the time that you left my office about 30 minutes ago, that I talked to. So we are up to 20 reinstatements today.
20 reinstatements today.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Pretty damn good.
Pretty good. And what are we finding, though? You're finding that a lot of these people have been making payments according to what they're telling you?
So based off the information that we received on the spreadsheet, it was saying that the most recent payments on a lot of these were like January, February, March. And when I've talked to them, they have, and I've already gotten several emails. I just got another one with proof of their receipts. They actually, last payments were made July. Some even were made in August, even though NAA did not receive, or they shouldn't have, they don't even have the loan, but they accepted the payment from the borrower. So NAA is going to be sending us a hefty check back on these.
Payments from July and August they've accepted on our behalf after we've already funded them the deal.
Yep.
So that's great. That's a great extra part of what we've got going on. So Nicole, you said somebody's got a question online that you want to ask?
Yeah, Brady Durr, he says, oh, was it a quitclaim deed, a showstopper? Did you buy a title policy?
So the question it asks is, with a quitclaim deed, is that a deal closer? Should we have bought a title policy? Yeah, we checked title. We did pull O&Es on a majority of these. Some of these that were already still included in the due diligence file. So no, quitclaim deed, you see that happen a lot of times with contract for deeds, where it's a quitclaim deed from Harbor Portfolio to Inverse Ventures or Inverse Asset Fund or whatever. That's just an easy way to transfer over. Now, that's not a showstopper. I mean, the biggest thing that we looked at was borrower motivation. Do they want to stay in their home? Do they have some pride of ownership? And the hardest thing that we dealt with was, as I should say, I should give Greg a T-shirt. It says "Herder of Cats," realtors, right? Yeah, and Nicole did a great job as well getting the phone to realtors too. So, giving Greg a little bit of a break because Greg, I think you got a few gray hairs.
Yeah, lost a little hair.
Lost a little hair too. But that's the biggest thing is these people. That was our biggest motivation. Hey, if they've made payments in the last year, we're kind of assuming, and yes, assuming means making an ass out of you, me both. But in this case, I think we've found a pretty good winning formula. So, and in the conversations you're having, Jen, those that were afraid to pay. They didn't know who to pay in August or July in some of those cases. They're ready to make payments right now.
Yeah,
right?
I mean they called flipping out. Like I have a payment ready. I called them to make my payment. They won't accept my payment. I want to pay you, and and then we start having our conversation. Almost every single phone conversation has not started off very friendly. Are
they a little aggressive? Are they a little aggressive?
Well, yeah, I just got this letter from you, and what do you mean? No one's told me you bought my loan. Why are you buying my loan? And what does this mean for me now?
Uh-huh.
By the end of it, it's we're getting payments, we're getting emails, we're getting
Darlin.
I've had a couple of names today, Nicole.
Darlin, honey, baby.
Yeah, Darlin, honey, and baby.
Darlin, honey, baby. Okay.
Yeah. That's
your new nicknames. We got Darling, Honey, and Baby from all of them.
Nobody puts baby in the corner. So no, we've gotten a lot of good responses and a lot of good relationships started to date. Now, granted, how much of this actually goes through but honestly, the people I've talked to have been very sincere. They've been very honest. They followed it up with their documentation to me. I have to admit, for the most part, a lot of them have had, they've had a few choice things to say as far as what was going on with their prior servicer.
Yeah.
They like the fact that they're actually having a contact directly to the owner of the loan, as opposed to just going through some servicer. And like I told him, we're here basically to touch base and find out life happens.
Yep.
We have a face as well. We go through the same struggles. We understand, let's work on it together. And everyone's been it's bam, bam, bam. Even people that, I talked to one, he has been unemployed. He got in a car accident. He had broken both legs. He wasn't able to work. He just started work 3 weeks ago. We've set up a payment and a system to where, we're going to work with him. It's not going to be as much as what he should be paying, but it's also going to cover his minimum payment that he needs to do.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not going to have that extra, which is fine to begin with. But once we get him on track, then we'll start working with him a little bit more. And once he gets back on track as far as his pay schedule, since he's back to work.
So I'm glad you made that decision on that asset, huh? Is that what you're saying? You went ahead and made the executive decision on that one?
No, I have it in this stack of stuff to run over to you, but I'm sure you'll be fine with it. And if you're not, too bad, I already did it.
Well, but that's the beautiful thing, that we're finding that many of these borrowers were making more than what we had on the spreadsheet.
Right. He's the only one. He is, honestly, we've only had two that for legitimately have not made payments since May.
Mm-hmm.
He was one of them, as well as another person. The person that I talked to outside of him, they mailed their payment to NAA literally yesterday. She's already emailed me the receipt and said, I literally just mailed this. For the fact that it's going through mail, then NAA will have it. So we have that reflection. Him, he's the only one that has not been making the payment since May, and he can't afford to pay extra. He can only do that minimal. And like I said, we'll be working on that as well.
Right. And that's okay. We're not the evil empire over here. We want to work with people. Some people have been making modified payments or extra payments along the way, and their reinstatement or forbearance is coming to an end in the next month or two. We're fine. Hey, great. Make your final payment. We'll keep you on the existing payment that you're supposed to be on. Some people are just paying extra. They're trying to get caught up. Hey, we'll take the extra, keep you on time. Just show us the canceled checks, the payment history, so we see what's going on now. Nicole, somebody else is asking another question?
Yeah. A lot. Michelle asked, she said you're doing your own first or borrow outreach. Do you have a mini Miranda?
Yes. Actually, Jen is giving the mini Miranda. Hey, yes, we're a debt collector. People are calling us first, and then we're following up with that. And yes, Jen's repeating that with the script that I gave her. So the beautiful thing about that is it's always easier when people are calling you versus you having to call them and stuff like that. So they know they're calling in. Yes, very simple little quote that you got to give to make things happen. So it's not a bad idea. So especially if you're doing this yourselves, that's one thing. Hey, I am a debt collector. Any information I use can be used to collect that debt and go from there. So
yeah. No, Laura, we're not servicing these in house. We're just doing. We have the borrower outreach first, and then we'll be kicking them over to our servicer and getting everything established based off of what I've talked to the borrowers with.
Oh, so there's another question.
Laura asked if we were servicing these in house.
Right, we're not. We do have we've got Madison Management. And we are also using ClearSpring as well. We've got a little bit of different in the portfolios with some of our vendors. So yes, and that's an easy conversation. You're just picking up the phone, dropping an email over to Madison on it as well. Hey, here's you've already started that in a couple already. We've got to give them a final rundown tomorrow on those and knowing what to expect and who's reinstating and
right.
Already email. Well, you're literally just going straight to Madison's website too and downloading their payment information, where to mail a check, how to log into that, and sending that out to the borrowers. Now, did you have a borrower that was not able to email you for some weird reason?
So I had a very lengthy, fun conversation with one of our borrowers, and when I started asking her to provide me with her proof of receipts, as well as I wanted to send her information, where to make her payments and everything like that, she said that she didn't have access to email. And I was like, okay, well, what's the best way? She goes, well, you can send it to me via Facebook. And I'm, we're building a relationship here and all, but not, nah. So, so I was like, well, you have to have an email to log into Facebook. And she's like, well, I never log out of Facebook. So, and I don't remember what my email address is. So then she logged out of Facebook and had a little bit of a meltdown because she couldn't remember her password to get back in, because she had to log out so that she could see what her email address was for me to be able to email her. So I sent an email to her, and I'm waiting to see if she actually can open her email, if she remembers that password. So yeah.
So one of the things that with those type of clients, it might be best for us to literally overnight like FedEx forms. Hey,
that's my backup plan. I told her I would send the email, and then she'll have a paper mail to follow up with it, just in case we couldn't get into that old trusty email account.
Yeah, that's scary. I don't think that one's going to be performing on time going forward, but that's okay. Phone's ringing off the hook still. You know, you had a couple phone calls while we were getting ready to rock and roll this stuff. So
I have on Do Not Disturb right now.
Your voicemails will pop up. I guarantee you'll get more than
that.
Yeah, especially tomorrow. So another question. All right, Nicole?
Michelle Apt, she says, when you call out, how do you verify that you're speaking to the actual borrower?
So that's a great question. So when you're making a phone call out, you got to ask some specific questions. You use the mini Miranda, and then you ask some specific questions. The great thing on the information sheets, it's giving the piece, hey, can you verify your date of birth? Can you verify the last 4 years social? Okay. Those are the easy things to verify that you're dealing with the correct borrower.
You just ask about the property. Like, what's your address?
No, as far as verifying that we're actually speaking to the borrower.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Give me your social security number. Give me your date of birth. Okay. Yes. I can verify that I'm talking to the right person. Yes. Could somebody have the birth date and the social security number that's in there? It's not the borrower. It could be a family member. I agree. Yes. The great thing in a lot of these cases, actually, most of the cases, there's co-borrowers on everything. So Jen's got the collateral files there with the husband, spouse, everything like that as well. Now, one thing too, we had come in, we had a letter returned that really said on there that time had expired for the mail to be forwarded to the new address. So we immediately got a realtor out there as well to secure that property. And we've remailed the letter out to the borrower with the new address, trying to expedite, hey, do they want to move back in? We're willing to work with them of some sort of fashion. And I'm surprised we've only got one return letter so far now.
Oh, evidently they all went to the right addresses, because I'm hearing them.
I'm hoping so. Yeah. Great. What would you say each of you guys has been your biggest aha moment? I mean, there's been a lot of stuff the last 48 hours, but biggest aha moment for you? I know. Crickets over there now. Great. Good stuff. We have one. I'll tell you the one, and we've got one that's it is trashed out. It's not going to be a mod. It's not going to be a reinstatement. Needs some work. Our biggest goal with that one, because we bought that asset at a very cheap price, is that the fact that it will find a local investor through the meetup groups and real estate clubs to get that thing sold and still make a profit on it. But our goal with that one is to get that thing moved ASAP. Now, the realtor was really great, sent a lot of great photos on the property, gave us some valuations. As is, it's probably around a $30K asset. Luckily, we're quite a bit below that. So it gives us some flexibility to move it quickly to somebody who can be a win-win and, get our investor their money back and get a good annualized ROI on the deal. It may not be a home run on that one. Maybe it's $2,000 or $5,000 in profits, but it's when you annualize it out that you can do, flip their money 4 times, it then becomes a really phenomenal return for them. So that's the great thing of that. Hey, let's get the stuff moved. Let's, boom. One of the borrowers, one of the borrower's neighbors called us on a property, wanted to buy it as well. Mm-hmm. So she's like, I'm the one that's been mowing. There's a boat in the front yard. What are you doing with a boat? Can you buy a note on a boat?
I think my biggest one was not many people know that their loans get bought and sold all the time. I thought that, I knew that for my student loans, but I didn't know other people didn't know.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of people just don't have a clue, or that they're thinking that their note's being canceled. Too, I think we had a couple people that responded that way. Oh, well, why is my loan being canceled? I want to stay. That happened a couple of days ago. It was one of the first ones. So yeah, that's a great point. Some people just don't pay attention. They're like, it's their first opportunity to buy a home. They might not have the greatest credit scores. They're not, $100,000, $200,000 assets, but they're working. They have the pride of ownership, and they're learning. We're kind of having to help kind of financially educate them some of their options along the way as well. So, Greg, what's been the biggest aha moment for you?
I guess my favorite one from the trade has been calling the utilities, because that's such a simple yet effective way to just find out. I mean, the fact that some of those people just that work at the utility companies give out more information, or they know the people, has been like, it's just funny to me, finding out more on borrowers and stuff just based on calling to see if the utilities are active on a property.
Now, you also, after our mastermind event a couple of weeks ago, you actually went up to South Bend to look at a couple assets that you and your dad own, and you drove by one of the assets that was in this portfolio too.
Mm-hmm. Two of them,
right?
Yeah.
And how did they?
Actually, the vacant one with the boat, that's the Lake Station one. We drove by that one.
Right. And the one Jumanji in the backyard. And,
yeah.
And the other one on O'Brien Street in Notre Dame, or in South Bend.
Yes.
And and that's one of the files that we're still missing the collateral file on. Jen, have we gotten that collateral file yet? Not yet.
No, because it supposedly is coming from one of their servicers that's slow.
One of the vendors that's slow. So if we don't have that in the next week, we're gonna have to cancel that and ask for a refund back on it. But the asset looked pretty good in South Bend, though, right, Greg?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The power was on. There was cars in the driveway. Property was well kept.
Somebody's having a party. All right. Jen, what's been your biggest aha with this?
I think honestly, just how many of these people just don't flip and pay. Like, I mean, why? I mean, some of these people, it's like their minimal payment. I mean, it's less than $500 a month. And to be able to get your ownership back and to go through this and have the stress and headache of all this and everything, why not just pay? You know what I mean? So, I mean, not on this batch of them, but some of these other ones that I haven't, had responses, or I haven't had a good response from. It's just like, why put that on yourself? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then I guess one of the other things is how these servicers they can't get their crap together.
Yeah,
seriously, it's like you're messing with someone's future and their ownership of their home, and you can't even reflect a current flipping payment. I mean, to me, how they run business and their ethics on that, it baffles me.
You know what? They can keep running business that way because we'll keep stepping in buying assets like this.
Right. So it's just that's like a shocker to me. So I mean, there's a lot of aha moments because I'm looking at my desk right now, like. Look at my desk. I don't see my desk right now, to be honest with you. I have enough room for my hands. So
jazz hands. There we go.
Jazz hands.
Exactly. So they can keep making their mistakes because we'll keep buying the assets and keep turning them into positive returns. Now, you had another thing. I mean, some of these people have been paying for a while. 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. They've got some equity. They want to stay. So they're slam dunks on that aspect of things. But you've also, I mean, you talked about the guy that had broke his legs.
Mm-hmm.
That Tony Soprano showed up and hit him in the knees. You also had a really interesting conversation with one of the borrowers regarding what had happened to her husband or boyfriend or whatever, right?
Are you talking about the escape?
Yes.
Yeah. So one of them, it was her and her boyfriend and their 2 kids, and he went to prison. So she was left to take care of her 2 kids and herself on her own. So she fell behind. She was trying to do the best she could. She was making minimal payments, and then it got to where she wasn't making any payments. So we've talked. She's working at a grocery store up in New York, which we usually don't really go to that area. But this one, I mean. The property looks good. There's private ownership. She's still there. She's willing to pay. I got pay stubs. I got.
If she makes her minimum payment, and it's not counting any, $50 extra, $100 extra pay period too, it's going to be a really good. It's going to be a win, truly. So
on this one, that one comes out to. Hold on, I didn't have that one ready for me. I think on this one we were still looking at 28 to 30% ROI.
Yeah. If you take her existing payment, low ball payment, times 12 months divided by what we can purchase that asset at. And the lender was wanting how much from her, though?
She had to pay $6,000 in September, and then they wanted another $6,000 by December to be able to keep her in her house and not file foreclosure.
So they wanted 12 grand on that one. That's kind of crazy.
by December.
12 grand by December to keep her
They
in.
wanted 6,000 in September,
Right.
which they just informed her of this about, I think she said end of July, beginning of August.
Yeah.
So, but the boyfriend is out of prison.
Yay.
He's working 3 jobs. She's working. I have proof of pay stubs for all of them, even him. And they only make about $1,700 a month between the two of them and the 4 jobs that's going on. Sorry, I thought I had that.
Another borrower, another reinstatement.
I can tell by the area codes. Trust me, I know Ohio's area codes now. In Illinois and Indiana and Michigan and Wisconsin. So, but yeah, as of right now, their gross income is about $1,700 a month. But what her minimal payment, and we talked about budget and looked at numbers and stuff, and she's going to be paying about an extra $100 a month than what her minimal payment is, so that she can get caught back on track.
And that's something that we're willing to do. I mean,
right.
$6 grand. I mean, this is somebody that reached out to us on something that we did. It falls in the same category
right.
Of stuff, and we're like, yeah, we'll jump on that one. We'll make, if she can start making those payments again and pay a little bit extra. It's a slam dunk for us and our investors on that.
She was in tears and I mean, elated by the end of the conversation, and I mean, she honestly, she said, I don't know what to do. I've had this sitting in my office for about three months. She's had a letter from us for about 3 months that she's been waiting to call on. And then when she got that information, she didn't know what else to do. She didn't know where to turn to. So she called us, and like she said, it was a blessing in disguise, because she was scared to contact us. And when she did, it all worked out. So
that's a good story. That's
I know.
You know what he went to jail for?
I try not to get that personal.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Not only that, but considering I am saying I'm a debt collector, I'd like to kind of not mess with that area. And that, why do you think I have aliases now?
There you go. Let's see here. We got a question here from Michelle again. Are you just trying to get people paying again? Or are you asking them to pay the back payments to reinstatement? So we're trying to get them 2 things, Michelle, on that question. Great question. We are trying to get them ultimately to start paying reinstatement, because that's based on our numbers. We get them to start paying the reinstatement. We're coming out good.
Right.
But if they got extra, we do want them to bring some skin in the game. And we're finding a lot of them already on forbearance agreements that weren't initially in the due diligence files we got, which is extra. So we're having them pay extra. Like the story that Jen just said, hey, can you pay $100 a month extra? You know, it's not going to pay off that $6 grand or the 6 months you're behind in 6 months, but it's a start. Right. And it helps them still have a little bit of time to get on their feet. Because I guarantee if they're behind to us, they're behind a lot of other places too.
Right. Not and honestly, every single person I've made contact with, everyone except for the guy that had the broken legs, the one that wasn't working, everyone has, it's their payment that's required. And then they've been making that extra payment that's going towards that past due and interest and everything like that. So not only that, I mean, covering the insurance and everything as well, and taxes. So it's not them just paying their bare minimum. We're actually getting that extra. And even off of some of the agreements that we've made, they were paying this before, but now with us, they're saying, hey, I want to, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to up this to, on our end, so that we can stay basically so that we're not going to be pushing them out the door. So it's been all aspects are covered as far as the income that we're going to be receiving on that end.
Right. And we were checking taxes on the front. So a lot of the taxes were all paid, which is a great thing. Obviously, you're requesting insurance, copies of their insurance. We want to make sure that's changed over to our entity on these as the payee for the property insurance and stuff like that too. I mean, I've got insurance on these as we bought the portfolio, but the beautiful thing is, as these people reinstate and send in statements, I can easily call my insurance company and say, hey, I need to remove this one,
Start dropping them off.
Yeah, and then I'll get a refund back for that. So it's well worth it to do. I mean, for that, what did I pay? $1,600, $1,800 to cover a lot of these initially for a month initially, based off what our pays were. Because I didn't have to insure them for the full value of the property. I insured it for about half of the properties because I knew we'd get a bunch of these that get reinstated. So that's the beautiful thing. So Michelle loves that. Great. Good to see some people out there. Awesome. Natasha Hunter, who just, I see she jumped on here. Congratulations, Natasha. Natasha looks like she's getting ready to close on her first couple deals.
Woohoo!
Their first couple private investors. Tasha's done a great thing. Another a lady who's working hard down in South Florida, a realtor by trade for the most part. Actually, past veterans in the Army, I believe. Ironside Investments is her company name. But she had that brain block of dealing with raising capital and finally got out, did some marketing, got a couple people that responded differently than the people that she was working with, and they've pledged some money. She's got 3 or 4 assets accepted, and we spent some time this afternoon going through it. So congratulations, Natasha. You got to let us know when you definitely close on that deal so we can feature you and do some bragging on you. So anybody else have any questions out there that's watching live or online? I'm just going through that. See here. Cody Cox, that's great. Awesome. Brady says, saving emotional equity. Yes, we are. Now, the thing, too, keep in mind, if we end up with 35 of these that reinstate, it saves us a tremendous amount of money because we can kind of facilitate the stuff on the front end, get it to our servicing company to really run with it and get it rock and rolling. Now, say we have half that don't respond. Hey, then we're going to be doing skip traces. Then we're going to be reaching out a little bit more aggressively with the law office of Daniel Singer, who's a key component of our vending staff. In the law office of Daniel Singer, you got Daniel Singer, who's an amazing attorney who's done thousands of foreclosures over the years, great bankruptcy attorney as well, just a tremendous individual. And then, of course, Joel Markovitz, our brother from another mother, Connecta, who will have those guys on a future podcast to talk about stuff. But those guys will do a lot more aggressive borrower outreach. Then there'll be a letter from an attorney. Letterhead sometimes will often shake the tree a little bit to get things rock and roll. And if they don't respond to them in roughly 30 to 45 days, then it's, filing evictions, it's filing foreclosures, getting a little nasty sometimes if we have to, because you got to play a little dirty and fast sometimes with this if you really want to accelerate the returns for your investors. But my biggest goal, and I've had this conversation with Joel as we talked about it too, is if we're buying 20 and we get 10 reinstated, it's a good day. Those are long-term returns that ultimately, we may hold for cash flow. We may sell a chunk of them off because actually some of these that have been paying for longer than 12 months, we could turn around and immediately sell them off right now as reperforming once we have the pay stuff. So some great opportunities there. I know the investors that jumped in on these are going to be extremely happy when we send out notices here on Monday and Tuesday. So any other questions, Nicole, you see anybody out there?
Oh, well, is Daniel Singer going to be at virtual or is Joel going to be at virtual?
Joel, so we have the virtual workshop that kicks off Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yes, Joel will be speaking on. I actually just got off the phone with him a little bit earlier today. He's excited. He'll be speaking Saturday morning on the workshop. Daniel won't be there. Both of the guys will be attending, they'll be hanging out at the Distressed Mortgage Expo. I know Joel will be there in California as well to be part of about 300 attendees out there. Actually, I'll be going to an Angels game with them Friday night before the conference. So,
Oh, nice.
Yes, Angels in the outfield. Angels, a good group of people there. So, if you guys don't have any other questions, I think it's a great way to kind of wrap up Friday funding podcast for everybody, huh? You guys, anything else you're working on? I know we've got, you're getting some bids on Monday, some new performing notes that we're working through, right, Jen?
Yes.
Yes.
One word answer.
One word answer. She's like, yeah, I got enough shit to do. And then Greg, you did a great job in the PowerPoint. Nicole, you did a great job on all the infographics, the videos, really getting people excited about actually some of these performing notes that we've had sent to us from some of these private sellers that want to move, and that are being serviced with third-party sellers and things like that. So we look forward to that. So, but I think it's let's see, how are we on time on this thing? How are we doing on time? It's about time to wrap it up for the day for that.
We've been about 30, 40 minutes.
34 minutes. Yeah, 38.
38.
Yeah.
I think we're good. I think it's a good time.
I got people to call.
You got people to call. You got loans to get.
I got to go.
I got to go. So, all right, we will wrap it up then for this episode. Once again, you can always find out more information by going to weekclosenotes.com and checking out the podcast there under the podcast or the blog tab. If you like to read instead of listening, we've got all the transcriptions there for you to be able to take advantage of. You can find us on all the podcast platforms. And then also, if you'd like more information on note investing, just pull out your smartphone, shoot me a text message at 72000-72000. That's 3 zeros. And text me the word notes, NOTES, capitalized, lowercase, it doesn't matter. And then what will happen, you'll get a link to opt in and get access to over 80 hours of educational videos and some slides and some stuff there for you as well. So, yeah, exactly. Mind blown on content there for you. So once again, thanks again. Make sure if you're listening to this on iTunes and on the podcast platforms, leave us a review. Love to hear the good, the bad, the ugly, and how we can do better at the Note Closer Show podcast. But I'm Scott Carson, your host, the CEO of WCN, WeCloseNotes.com. Thank you to my amazing staff, done an amazing job and sharing some great stuff with you guys today. And we look forward to seeing you all at the top.
High five.
Bye, everybody. That was good.